Hayley Mills entered the public imagination as the perfect embodiment of innocence at a time when Disney carefully curated hope for families around the world. With her open smile and clear-eyed warmth in Pollyanna and The Parent Trap, she became the face of youthful optimism in the early 1960s. To audiences, Hayley felt reassuringly pure, a symbol of goodness untouched by the world's harsh edges. Yet that image, so lovingly protected by Disney and embraced by millions, only told part of the story. Behind the camera was a young girl growing up far too fast, navigating pressures no child should shoulder. Her journey was not a fall from grace, but a slow, complicated awakening into adulthood. Hayley's life would become a quiet lesson in how fame can lift someone high while silently demanding a heavy emotional price. A childhood surrounded by art and control. Born in London in 1946, Hayley Mills grew up in a family deeply rooted in British theatre and literature. Her father, Sir John Mills, was a revered actor, while her mother, Mary Hayley Bell, was a respected writer, and creativity filled their home. Yet her childhood moved between freedom and restriction. Family life encouraged imagination and storytelling, but boarding school introduced a rigid environment that felt isolating for a sensitive child. Hayley later reflected that these early years shaped both her resilience and her tendency towards self-doubt. She learned early that authority figures were not always gentle, an awareness that quietly eroded her sense of safety. Books became her refuge, allowing her to escape into worlds where she felt in control. Long before fame arrived, Hayley was already learning to retreat inward to protect herself emotionally. Discovered by Walt Disney, Hayley's entry into cinema was unplanned and innocent. At just 12, she appeared in the British film Tiger Bay, expecting nothing more than the joy of acting alongside her father. That performance, however, reached Walt Disney at precisely the right moment. Watching the film, Disney famously paused and declared, "Find me that girl." When Hayley met him, she was unaware of his legendary status and instead saw a kind, reassuring presence. Disney made her feel safe, treating her family with warmth rather than grandeur. This gentleness mattered deeply to a young girl far from home. The 7-picture contract that followed transformed her life overnight. What began as a simple acting opportunity became a defining relationship, with Disney offering a protective, almost paternal environment that shaped Hayley's earliest experiences of fame. Pollyanna and overnight stardom. Pollyanna was more than a hit film. It was a cultural moment. Released in 1960, it introduced Hayley Mills to the world as a beacon of optimism. At just 14, she carried the emotional weight of the film with remarkable sincerity, earning an Academy Juvenile Award and a Golden Globe. Walt Disney watched closely, ensuring she never felt pressured or overwhelmed. Yet the contrast between her public success and private life was striking. While fan letters poured in by the thousands, Hayley returned to boarding school, where she was treated no differently than any other student. This split existence made fame feel surreal and distant. America celebrated her endlessly, but Hayley herself remained shy, uncertain, and deeply aware that her real life did not match the fantasy audiences adored. The Parent Trap and creative mastery. With The Parent Trap in 1961, Hayley proved she was more than a lucky discovery. Playing identical twins required technical precision, emotional range, and stamina beyond her years. She delivered effortlessly, convincing audiences there were truly two girls on screen. The film became one of Disney's most beloved successes, cementing her status as a global icon. Even the lighthearted song from the film unexpectedly climbed the music charts. Yet behind the achievement was a young actress quietly carrying immense responsibility. Each success reinforced expectations that she would remain eternally childlike, cheerful, and uncomplicated. As Hayley matured emotionally, the roles did not. The gap between who she was becoming and who the world wanted her to be widened. planting the seeds of an internal struggle that would surface later. Growing up under a fixed image. As the 1960s progressed, Hayley found herself trapped by the very image that made her famous. Disney audiences wanted the same innocent girl, untouched by adulthood. But Hayley was changing, developing curiosity, emotional depth, and a desire to explore more challenging work. While Disney polished her roles carefully, she felt increasingly confined. Off-screen, she wrestled with anxiety, self-control, and an unspoken need to define herself beyond childhood stardom. This tension was invisible to the public but deeply personal to her. She was grateful for her success, yet quietly frustrated by its limitations. The struggle was not rebellion, but identity. Hayley was learning that growing up in the spotlight often means outgrowing the expectations of those who helped build your fame. Love, controversy, and independence. In her early 20s, Hayley's personal life drew intense scrutiny when she formed a relationship with an older, established filmmaker. The age difference unsettled the public, who still clung to her Disney image. Headlines framed the relationship as shocking, ignoring the reality that Hayley was an adult seeking understanding and emotional connection. For her, the relationship offered intellectual companionship and a sense of being seen beyond her past roles. Yet time revealed the challenges of such a divide in life stages. Their eventual separation was quiet and dignified, leaving behind a son who became a lasting bond between them. The experience taught Hayley an important truth. Love can be genuine and still not endure. It also marked her first real step toward choosing her life on her own terms. Loss, resilience, and quiet battles. Behind Hayley's composed public presence were deeply personal struggles. Financial mismanagement and heavy taxation meant she lost nearly all the money she earned as a child, a blow that robbed her of independence just as adulthood began. At the same time, she battled a hidden eating disorder, long before such issues were openly discussed or understood. She carried these burdens silently, believing endurance was simply part of her responsibility. Later in life, a cancer diagnosis forced her to confront mortality itself. Through treatment and recovery, she learned to slow down and prioritize dignity, health, and family over obligation. These experiences reshaped her understanding of strength, teaching her that survival is not about denial, but about facing pain with honesty and compassion. A legacy beyond innocence. Hayley Mills' legacy extends far beyond her Disney films. She became a quiet advocate for child performers, speaking openly about financial protection, mental health, and the long-term cost of early fame. Her memoir offered reflection rather than bitterness, encouraging understanding rather than blame. Professionally, she continued acting with humility and dedication, earning respect for her discipline and kindness on set. To audiences, she remains a cherished part of childhood memories. To fellow artists, she is an example of endurance and grace. Hayley's story reminds us that innocence on screen often conceals complex realities off it. Her true achievement lies not only in the roles she played, but in the life she rebuilt with patience, honesty, and a strength that never needed applause.